Okay, hey everybody, it's Brett with a weekend update. Had a Friday update and the audio didn't quite turn out well, so I'm going to redo this really quickly for you guys. And also wanted to see kind of what happened through the weekend. Was expecting some more weakness after Powell's remarks here. Just to summarize here, and I'll just kind of give you guys a quick wave. Turn off the camera here, don't need that. I want to focus on the charts here, what we're looking at. So, of course, the original economic numbers came out slightly positive on Friday, pumped the market up a little bit, and then Powell's comments warning the markets of more pain ahead really spooked the markets, which is not unexpected here. Been saying that likely we'll be heading lower from these levels. So just to jump into it, a couple things that I'm seeing. And this is the weekly chart of Bitcoin. So really critical level. Now, as of today, we've been flirting with 20,000, been up and down below it. And so I'm just going to jump to the 1 hour, 4 hour here, and let's do this. Let me open this up, and we'll take a look at what we're seeing on this 4 hour, which is a little bit easier to see. So the three scenarios that I've been watching and suggesting that we may see is sort of option one is we roll down into these levels, which is exactly what's happening. So we're down around 20,000. If we can't hold 20,000, then we'll likely head lower down around the 18,000 level. This is that 300 week moving average that I'll pull up again on the weekly. So down in this range. It's also a measured move from the bear flag breakdown from this level. We have currently a mini bear flag inside of a much larger bear flag. So just to call attention to that, zooming out a bit, the flagpole would be here to here. We've been sort of slowly grinding up, but then have broken down below that support line on the macro bear flag, and then inside of that is this little one here, a mini bear flag here. So that puts us down around 18,000, this 300 week moving average, as I suggested. So the three scenarios again that could play out, certainly we could drop down straight to here, but probably it'll kind of stabilize around 20,000, maybe even push back up to this level here before heading lower and seeing this kind of price action. So that would be scenario one. Scenario two is sort of already been invalidated. I had drawn this a couple days ago, again, where we would have held at 20,000, pushed higher, hit resistance here, and rolled over. So in actuality, this is actually no longer. This has been invalidated. So I'll take that off. And so really, we're looking at two scenarios here. This pushing higher and down. Of course, the third scenario is we just crater down, but I don't think we'll see that. The big Wall Street traders will be back to their desks here this week from their vacations, and I'm currently away at our family beach house as well, so it's a little different setup than usual. But this also has largely been invalidated. We did not rally up higher, so I'd say at this point I'm just going to remove that because new information equals new decision, and based on the last day price action and failing down below here, this is the most likely scenario that we'll see, kind of push higher and then go lower. However, scenario two could be still here. Let's just draw this in. We could sort of drop down in this range and then get a bounce and do this sort of a thing. So all opportunities are on the table. All options are on the table. So let's jump over to a monthly chart. And just quickly looking at this, nothing new here. What we are watching for, which is significant, would be a bearish engulfing candle on the monthly chart. So really important to see where we close as of next Wednesday, the 31st. If it's at or below current levels, then we're looking at much more pain on Bitcoin and probably down in this to the 400 week moving average. I would suggest down to 12,000, 12,500, which is what I've been suggesting. And so by the end of the year, this is possible. So really want to watch this weekly close here at the end of the the end of the month with this bearish engulfing candle. The other clues, not much else to see there on the monthly, but on a weekly basis. So we're also looking pretty weak here. I want to see where we close tonight. If we close the week below 20,000, the battle for 20,000 is on. If we close below there, then very likely we're heading lower. Also on our trend strength indicator, turning over from green to red. So that looks like that's going to continue lower as we've been suggesting. And also have a bearish ERI, the early reversal indicator. So, these are some of our own proprietary indicators, but this red arrow here would suggest more further downside to come. And let's take a look at some of these other indicators as well. So to give some more clues, On the RSI also bouncing off resistance on this level, this downward sloping trend line resistance. So that also indicating more downside, as well as the stochastics RSI here. I had drawn this a week ago. So sure enough, we came right up to this 80 level, and it looks like we are rejecting. So I am looking for lower prices on Bitcoin into the coming week. On the daily chart, this is interesting, however, this is something we haven't looked at on this channel before. The hash rate indicator, the hash ribbon indicator down below, I'll turn off this other one. This has to do with the miners. I should turn off the wrong one here. The hash ribbon indicator, when it flashes a blue buy signal, traditionally it has been the bottom of the market. So if we zoom out a bit, then back here we saw a buy signal on this. We saw it right at back here, April 2020, and then here again. So these are bullish signals. However, and usually it does go higher from there. But in terms of the overall market structure, I'm not ready to say that. I don't believe that we are going to necessarily go up from here. We may have put in a bottom back in this level, but we would still most likely retest this upward trending support line. And so, if we do start bouncing here into the week, and we have higher prices, that monthly bearish engulfing candle goes away, and the weekly also may still turn bullish. So really important to see how things close today at 8 p.m. Today's Sunday. I'm recording this around noon, and so we'll have more information this next week. So this is interesting, though. One of the few bullish indicators, this hash ribbon indicator, which has been pretty helpful in the past. Also, not only showing miner capitulation. This is where the miners are selling Bitcoin to pay for their operations and their electricity. So we had capitulation back in the summer, and we had the hash ribbon indicator pushed up to retest and hit to new highs, and so that was then. So we're getting that right in here. We had this capitulation in this window. It wasn't as deep as I'd like to see, but nevertheless, it is showing a minor capitulation or a hash ribbon buy indicator on that. So with that, on the we are oversold as well on our trend strength indicator on the daily basis. So we'll keep an eye on this, to see how things sort of pan out. And in terms of these are the scenarios on the 4 hour. Really important. We're just teetering on this 1 hour. The $20,000 time, $20,000 limit price here on the 1 hour time frame here. We've just been kind of going up and down below it. So the question is, will we hold here at 20,000? And that'll be what we want to keep an eye on going into Monday. So good, nice quiet weekend, not too much fireworks here. So keep an eye on that. And if you want to just look at some overall other metrics here, we can just take a look. Bitcoin dominance is still heading lower a bit. Ethereum dominance has sort of petered out and hit some resistance up in here, but certainly can go much higher. And so I do still think we'll have a sell-on news event with going into the merge in September. But we'll see. USDT is bouncing, so money's flowing out of Bitcoin into USDT again. So kind of redrew this support trend line, and it is getting in the overbought territory on the trend strength indicator. So interesting to see here. It might have maybe a wedge forming here over the next few days, and it'll break to the upside or to the downside. So it's important to kind of keep an eye on that. The DXY is still pushing higher slightly, and so obviously that's bearish for Bitcoin. These levels, it's hitting resistance levels here from way back here. And if I zoom out on this, let me just pull this full screen. The DXY, I'm going to zoom out and maybe put it on a 3-day, just because that way we can see the longer term price structure and this giant cup and the handle formation that we are really breaking out of on the dollar index. So going back to the early 2000s, and we saw it push as high as 120. So I think if we pull back on the DXY, it will find support and really could push into these levels. Where would it stop out? Probably around 120. And so we want to keep an eye on that. And so pushing higher, that could be a final blow off. However, zooming out even further, going back to 1985, where we had very bad recessions, similar to what we're heading into. So the DXY could push higher to these much higher levels, which would be very bad for the stock market and crypto as a whole. So we want to make sure that we're aware of these levels. And in terms of this recession, some are saying that they're propping up the economy ahead of the midterm elections, while the Fed is saying that they're deleveraging their balance sheet. The evidence is not showing that. So they may be saying one thing and doing something different, delaying the onslaught of the recession-inducing price increases. Although Powell is hinting at it, I think they'll kind of go easy into the midterm elections, then certainly thereafter into the end of the year could really see these markets deteriorate once they put the brakes on the economy in earnest. So important to understand all the dynamics in terms of the macroeconomics and also what the charts are showing us. So that's what we're watching here, guys, and it'll be an interesting week. I don't see anything really moving higher of any substance here today. Polygonmatic up 3%. If we jump up to the daily, has looked fairly strong in the scheme of things, but overall the market will follow what Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing, and so it's looking, Ethereum pulling back off that 2,000 level. Those round numbers are psychologically significant, so that would have been a good place to take some profits, and I was advising that last week as well when our TSI trend strength indicator was in overbought territory. So Ethereum could come back in the 1,000 dollar range, might be a good place to dollar cost average into that. However, if these markets do continue to go lower, the accumulation zone here, liquidity zone here, down below 500, 600, this is an area I'm watching carefully and have alerts set where I would be going all in my IRA in Ethereum for a long-term hold. May or may not get there. That's just what I'm watching. So we'll see. But let's keep an eye on how things wind up here at the end of today, Sunday, and depending on when this video goes out. And Monday morning, I think it's probably still going to be a pretty quiet week going into Labor Day and the end of the summer season for the big traders in Wall Street come back in. Not that they move the markets, they move the U.S. equities indices, and lately Bitcoin has been following the NASDAQ and the S&P and the major indexes, sort of a risk-on tech stock surrogate, if you will. So anyway, nothing terribly new here other than watching these important levels and kind of seeing how this week plays out. But again, this 20,000 level, very important. If we can't hold here, very likely come down to this 300-week moving average, which puts us right around 17,200. I'd even put it a little bit higher. This, I think, is a little bit high. I had to hand draw these because my EMA weren't showing up. So right around 18,000, which technically would be a retest of the prior low, June 13th of this year, low here. We could certainly see a retest of that week, and then push higher. Then we'd have a nice W bottoming formation. So all options are still on the table, but I think we definitely want to be careful and continue to be cautious in these markets. So with that, just give you guys a quick wave, and I hope you enjoyed your weekend. We'll talk to you guys again. Probably get it out next Friday, have some more meaningful direction to share with you guys. So anyway, enjoy, you guys. Have a good week. Thanks.